Start, Pavitra.
Yes, ma'am. There is no wealth like knowledge and no poverty like ignorance, says Buddha. A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. I'm Pavitra Chelian, currently pursuing my final year in the stream of electronics and communication engineering. I feel honored and privileged to welcome you all to AICTE sponsor 6 days on an STTP Series 2 on the Internet of Medical Things, enabling technology in healthcare, organized by Chennai Institute of Technology, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. Our college has achieved a huge milestone in its never-ending history by securing second place in Tamil Nadu in November-December 2019 academic year. The motto of our institution is to cater the needs of its youth with its innovative teaching methods and mold them and shape them into one deserving individual. To know more about this session, I would like to welcome Dr. Malati, Organizing Secretary, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, to address the gathering. Please, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning to one and all present here. I heartily welcome you all for the third day of our AICTE sponsored 6 days online STTP. Today we have our guest Dr. Muneshin from IIIT Kanjipuram for today's session. Thanks a lot, sir, for accepting our invitation. Today our expert is going to deliver the lecture on health monitoring system to track the health of COVID people under home quarantine. I hope the participants you can have the great session with our expert. So participants kindly attend all the sessions. The 80 percentage of attendance is compulsory to get the certificates. So need your cooperation till the Saturday. Don't miss all the lectures. Pavitra.
Thank you, ma'am. Today we have an eminent speaker among us. It's Dr. Mani Singh, IITDM Kanjipuram. He has done his PhD in National Institute of Technology, Roorkela, in Computer Science Engineering. He is specialized in Computer Science Engineering and Computer Networking. His areas of interest are WSNS, IoT, robotics, connected cars, cloud computing, and sensor. He has published many journals and conference publications. He got his recognition for guest lecture delivered in VIT. He is here with us to help us know about the health monitoring system to track the health of COVID-19 people under home quarantine. I feel honored and privileged to welcome you, sir. Please share your view with our students, sir.
Yeah, thank you for introducing myself.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I would like to thanks to all the organizers of this course, and also thanks to the organizing institute.
இல்ல இல்ல
And I
நான் வந்துருவேன்
welcome you
மேனகா
one and
பார்த்துக்கலாம்
all
அவ்வளோதான் முடிஞ்சிச்சு நான் என்
for
வேலையை
attending
முடிச்சிடுறேன்.
this webinar series on IoT in healthcare. So I'll start with the very basics. What is an IoT in healthcare, and what are the technological challenges are there, and how we can take those technological challenges as a research
Sir,
opportunity.
share your screen, sir.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yes, sir, we got it, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Okay, so our today's agenda of discussion is on IoT in healthcare. So I'll be specifically talking about the technological challenges, and there are some research opportunities. So if we can understand the challenges, then we can take it these challenges as a research opportunity. So let's begin this particular topic. So emerging trend in IoT. So how you can imagine a healthcare system using an IoT. So the emerging trend is basically came into the picture because of cloud computing enhancement, mobile applications, and wearable device. So all these technological advancement facilitating the IoT role for making the healthcare as a smart and personalized system. So earlier also these IoT things was there, but we were talking with a different name like unambiguous computing, pervasive computing. So IoT is just like in a buzzword. So the technology is already being placed in late 20th centuries back, but we were not technologically strong in that areas during that time. So the computational power was not that enough. Likewise, mobile applications are not that much capable to communicate and share the informations. Similarly, the wearable devices was not in the portable format. So the technological revolution has changed all, and now we can imagine IoT in healthcare sector. So cloud computing, what kind of different services it can offer you, and each services you can take it pay per use. So whatever the requirement you are having, you can just pay to the cloud service provider and avail that service for your platform development. So now the computational power is also in your hand. Need not to purchase strong systems to configure such kind of platforms. You have all these platforms live on the cloud service. So cloud computing gives us a lot of benefits of storage as a platform as a services. So you can avail any kind of platforms with a specific configurations. If you have a high demand of computations, you can avail that also. So there are a lot of varieties of services cloud computing can offer to a client. Likewise, mobile applications also change a drastic change in the IoT field, because nowadays the Android mobile phones or smartphones has a capability to access some of the health parameters from your body through the embedded sensors. So smartphones are capable enough to sense the surrounding environments, sense some of the vital informations through the embedded sensors. So Android phone has a lot of sensors integrations, and if you want it to use them, you can have that facility also. So mobile application enhancement is also a emerging trend in IoT. Similarly, the wearable devices. So now, if you can see, we have a lot more devices available in market, readily available, and you have to just spend a few bucks to get those sensors, and you can facilitate a small IoT network. So wearable sensors nowadays comes in large varieties. You will be having a health monitoring sensors like ECG sensors, body temperature sensors. They are all in portable format, and easy integrations also comes with that. So wearable device also facilitating the IoT role in healthcare sectors. Similarly, we will be having various medical devices. So nowadays, even the portable devices are available, but they are not so accurate. There is lot of fix we require to do in order to achieve some kind of accuracy in health monitoring. But there are some standard devices also there, like the Philips company is making, Siemens making. Likewise, there are so many industries they are working and designing a different kind of devices and sensors. So they are bulkier, but still they have a capability to communicate via internet and via some other kind of communication mediums. So medical devices, sensors, diagnostic and imaging devices, all are now viewed as a smart devices. So they can all communicate over the internet and deliver the informations to a remote distance locations. So this is what the small diagram, if you can visualize here, there is a e-health sensor networks. So there is a lot of research also going in this area, how we can integrate the sensors to the body and we can create a body area sensor network. So in this also, we are talking about the communication technologies as well as how we can fetch the data from the human body. So separate this particular research area, and we will be also having some communication. So these sensors are capable enough to communicate with the gateways or and edge node devices or a fog node devices. So you can configure these sensors to send their data to the fog node, and from the fog node you can deliver this data to the fog gateway, and from the fog gateway you can deliver this data to the cloud. So there are various computational requirements. You can achieve it at the different stages. So either you can use the fog node for some data analysis. Similarly, fog server you can utilize for some analysis, or cloud you can also use for the big data analysis. So there are different computational powers are there at the different nodes. So I will be discussing about the various challenges in this particular domain of research and how we can deal with such issues. So if you see, IoT healthcare network is basically divided in different segments. So topology is the must, where we will be discussing about the physical configurations of sensors and devices. So there are different types of sensors which has a different communication capabilities. They can organize themselves in a network, and once they have a organized network, in what manner we should arrange them so that our performance gets increased, reliability get increased. Similarly, the next phase of this is architecture. So in this, we will be discussing about the logical and structural layout of network components. So we are mostly discussed about the functions of each and every layers in the architectures. So how each layer can contribute to others layers, and what are the functional dependencies they are having with other layers. So the layered architectures of gateway we will be discussing over here, and what are the different protocol are operating in this particular layer structures. Then later on we can comes to the platform. There are numerous type of platforms are there which we can use it for IoT healthcare system, like libraries, various APIs and frameworks are there, which you can use it for the development of IoT healthcare uh, virtualization applications, or IoT dashboard for visualizing the physical parameters. So let's begin with topology at first. So IoT network topology basically consisting the various physical devices. So various physical devices, basically we are talking about the physiological sensors. So physiological sensors, how many varieties of them are there, and how we can integrate them with the controllers so that they can also has some kind of communication capabilities. Actuators, we will be talking about what type of actuators we can have in the IoT for medical or healthcare sectors, like gateway for communication perspective. So we also discuss about how we can organize the network of physical devices and how we can send our data to the gateway. So communication perspective, some challenges are there which we are going to address in this particular webinar. So what are the basic factors that we have to consider while choosing the IoT as a technology for healthcare sector? So first of all, we have to discuss about the cost parameter. So cost is essential because every person cannot afford the medical devices which are costly. Like we cannot afford the imaging devices, we cannot afford the MRI devices, so they are very costly and bulkier devices. So how we can think about the cost parameter? So cost parameter in terms of sensors, cost parameter in terms of computational devices, cost parameter in terms of communication devices. So we will be discussing everything in technological perspective. What are the cost parameter involving in IoT for healthcare sectors? Then energy consumption is another important aspects, because most of the physiological sensors, or these sensors are operating on battery powers. So if some sensors are operating in battery power, how we can extend their lifetime in a network, so that we can access the health parameters for a longer period of time without charging or recharging them again. So this is what the energy consumption perspective, what kind of measures we should take. Then communications and reliability. This is an important parameter in terms of formation of networks. We will be having a various kind of topologies, and each topology has a certain way of arranging the nodes in the network. Then there are certain parameters that we have to analyze in order to say that the my network is performing well in terms of latency, in terms of response time, in terms of packet delivery ratio. So certain network specs we will be discussing here, and how we can improvise that. That is also the agenda of today's discussions. So these factors basically we are not just analyzing in terms of what is the requirement for the cost purpose. We are analyzing them in the great depth. So we are analyzing with respect to their characteristics, their capabilities, and performance of the network topologies. So IoT network topologies has the various challenges. So physical device basically embedded with large varieties of medical sensors and actuators. So at the uh, user end, we will be having a device with the integrated sensors and integrated communication capabilities. So different devices may have different kind of communication interfaces. Either they can use Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, infrared, NFC, RFID, 4G, GPRS, 2G communications, USB, RS-232. So there are a lot of communication interfaces are there. Since we are talking about IoT, so Internet of Things, things can be of any type, and their interface is also of any type. So whenever we will be having a different types of interfaces, we have a certain challenges. So how we can deal with those challenges, we will be discussing. So what are the challenges? First of all, the prime challenge is constrained data processing method. So if different communication interfaces are there, if different physical sensors are there, they will be using a different types of protocol to communicate with the controllers, and the controller communicate with the network in different mode of communication. So physical sensors may be attached with different ports like SPI communication ports, serial peripheral interfaces. You can use it for interfacing some of the medical sensors. Likewise, you can use integrated communication interfaces. Similarly, you have a UART communication interfaces. So these are the physical device perspective. What are the communication interfaces are there, and what are the protocols are there, so that the sensors can communicate with controller. So embedded system point of view, we will be having a certain challenges. And if you can look at the core part of the embedded system, we have a challenges like, if we use a different types of communication port to integrate the sensors with controller, then we need to manage the data in a common format to deliver over the cloud server. So how we can establish some kind of the data processing method which can convert our data in a specific format, which we can deliver it over the network without any problem. So aggregation of the census data in a one common format is essential to optimize the performance. Similarly, the other constraint we have a latency. So latency basically talks about the transmit time, response time. So when you transmit your vital information to the cloud server, where you do the analysis and take certain decisions. So there are various ways you can uh, minimize the latency. Either you can perform the computation at the edge node itself. So edge node you can collectively use for doing certain analysis over the data, and then you can notify to the healthcare service provider and the patient. So this is what your conditions. So this will take the minimal latency, but sometimes we cannot able to satisfy all the constraints. So edge node is always be having a minimal computation, minimal storage, and minimal communication capabilities. So sometimes what we think, we can analyze a large amount of data. So in that case, we can go towards the fog nodes. There we have some capable devices and gateways where we can store the data in some large quantity and do the computation. So there also we can take certain decisions and notify to them healthcare service provider with a minimal response time. Similarly, we have a cloud perspective. So in the cloud, we can do the analysis of big data. So you have analyzing the year of patient data, and then you are predicting some of the health parameters that he might be having this disease if this particular parameters keeps on increasing. So based on that big data analysis, you can identify the vital health parameters to a patient. So latency is an important parameter in terms of the communication perspective. We will be discussing what are the challenges are there and how we can deal with those challenges. Throughput. So throughput is a essential parameter also, because latency and throughput we combinedly taking it for analyzing the performance of any network. So throughput is basically talks about the packet delivery ratio. So in a network, your data is going in the form of packets. If one of the packet dropped in the network because of some network failures, your health data will not reach properly at the healthcare service provider. So he cannot understand what kind of the medical data is comes to me for the analysis purpose or for giving certain kind of uh, precautionary measures. So the throughput should be maximized, maximizing in certain format in certain topology formations. So throughput basically talks about the packet delivery ratio. If your data reach 100% without any drop of packets, you can say that I have received the whole information. So from that whole information, I can do some analysis and give certain solution for that. Coverage. So coverage is another important challenge. Basically, it comes for the deployment perspective. Let's say we are deploying this telehealth monitoring system in a remote villages where the connectivity issues with network is a big problem. So we are deploying some wireless sensor network within that village and creating a deployment in such a way that the optimal coverage can be achieved. So the end IoT devices or there the IoT devices cannot work in certain remote places where internet facilities are not there. Even cellular communication capabilities are not there. In that cases, we can establish a wireless sensor network with the help of local area network or personal area network devices. So personal area network device for communications can be Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, infrared. So these devices you can attach with the controller and create a small network of devices which can access the vital information from the patient and deliver that to the gateway. So gateway can locate at a longer distance, or it may be placed it in such a way that you can send your data in optimal way. So your latency should less and throughput should maximize. So the coverage is related to the deployment strategies, how you can deploy your sensor network so that you can have a better way of data transmissions and the deployment of health services over the remote locations. Fault tolerant is another important aspect that needs to be addressed properly in IoT area, because faults are basically creates a lot of issues. specifically in medical area. So if you are using IoT for the healthcare sector, there are some portable sensors. They may react it in different order. Sometimes they gives the correct reading, sometimes they gives incorrect reading. So how you can justify that the reading that you have fetched from the sensor is correct? So some kind of fault mechanism or a fault tolerant mechanism we have to introduce in the network so that we can justify the data generated from the sensor is correct. So this is also a big area of research, and it is also a challenge in IoT. Scalability. So scalability issue is basically talks about how we can create a network of scalable number of devices. Means how we can extend the network capabilities by integrating more number of users or more number of devices in the network. So scalability issue is also an important aspect that we have to discuss in terms of IoT. Then the range and number of hops. So range and number of hops basically discuss about how we can use the wireless devices where the wired connections cannot be possible. In such a terrain, we will be always going with the wireless devices. So if we have some wireless devices, then how we can establish the communications between the devices and how we can relay our data from device to device. So multi-hop communications and all such perspectives will be there in this type of configuration. So let's discuss the first constraint or a challenge. The constraint data processing method basically discussed about how you can converting the raw data into a specific format so that you can deliver it optimally over the network. So constraint data processing is what we need some kind of mechanisms to uh, convert the data in a specific format. Let's say we have devised the one specific format and that is optimal to transferred via IoT network. So network perspective, which affects the basic parameters for the data processing, like bandwidth. If you have a minimal bandwidth, how you can optimally send your data. So that constraint will be there. So in that case, what you can do? So conversion mechanism you should devise, or you can write some algorithm in the edge node which can convert the data in a specific format and transfer it to the remote servers. Either you can go with XML based data conversion, or likewise there are so many other formats through which you can convert the data into a specific format. Then validation is also a important data processing constraint. So how you can ensure that the data is clean, data is correct without any error. So this can also comes in the fault tolerant networks. How you can justify that my sensors producing the data is correct, or if this data comes into the network, that data is clean, correct, and useful. So that validation also needs to be done. Then shorting is another important aspects. If you can think about the big data analytics or a big data, you will be having three different problems in that, like velocity, variety, and volume. So if your data is coming in such a fast manner with a lot of varieties, so how you can organize them in a structured format so that you can do certain kind of sorting over the data. So that is also a constraint in data processing method. Then aggregation is another important field in a wireless sensor network. We talks basically about the data aggregations. So how you can combine the data and create a small piece of data, the combined data of small piece, so that you can optimally send it over the lower bandwidth of network. So aggregation is also a type of technique where we will be discussing more about compression techniques or some kind of strategy through which we can send the data over the network in a minimal bandwidth. Analysis. So analysis is also an essential parameter. Once you have fetch the data from sensors and send it over the cloud, then you have to perform some analysis over the data. So for analysis purpose, what is the requirement? We need to organize the data in a structured format. If the data is in structured format, analysis will be easy, and your interpretation and presentation of data is also be easy. So analysis point of view, you also have to think about what kind of strategy you should use to have the organized data. And if the data cannot be possibly converted in a minimal effort, then you can find out some strategy. Like there are some non-structured databases also there, how you can organize the data in the non-structured format. Then reporting, so list the detail or a summary data of computed information. So once you have a data, you have analyzed it, then how the useful parameters you can extract out of the data. So that kind of reporting mechanism also you required to do under this particular data processing. Then presentation is also definitely a viewpoint or a visualization of data perspective is also a useful parameters that you have to think about in data processing methods. So if you achieve the data processing properly, then what are the advantages you are going to get? Higher efficiency you can get, time saving you can get, because data you can deliver it over the network in fastest way. So high speed you can achieve it, and you can also reduce the errors. So these are the following advantages that you can get it. And disadvantages is that at present we are not able to devise any such method which consumes a less power. So I have given the example for the remote locations, like in villages you have established a wireless sensor network. So most of the sensors are operating on battery power. So if you are doing a lot of conversions and sorting and aggregation process by devising some algorithm, it consumes a lot of power. And if power is consumed a lot, your sensors may not provide the longer lifespan. So how you can optimally devise some methods through which you can minimize the power consumptions. Also occupied the large memory. So memory is also a major concern in this particular data processing method. So we should think about some kind of algorithm or some kind of data structure which can take a less memory and do the analysis or data processing operations in less memory. Cost of installation is high. Obviously, you need a lot of device or the device with a good computation power and storage space. So cost parameter also you must be analyzed before you can write certain constraint data processing methods. So wastage of memory should not go high. It should always be less. So these are the few parameters over which you can analyze your written solution for the constraint data processing. So any of these area you can choose as a research domain and optimize the network by devising some of the algorithms which can do such analysis. Another useful aspect is latency. So latency is another important challenge in IoT, because IoT gives certain characteristics like dynamic and self configurations of a network, then self this interoperability and unique identity in a network, and any device can integrate with the informational network. So these are the few characteristics under which we have to establish our network, and we have to think about all such aspects so that our network should do perform or it performs better operations. So latency is another useful parameters. So in terms of Wireless sensor network perspective, let me give you some idea. Let's say this is a location 1 and we have some set of IoT devices for accessing the patient health. So we have deployed these devices in location 1. Similarly, we place some of the IoT health devices in the location 2. So what kind of strategy we should use to minimize the latency? Let's say the location 1, the gateway is not working properly. So here, if you can understand the one challenge we have discussed about the coverage. So coverage is essential aspects in terms of managing your networks in proper order and without losing any information. So if this particular gateway is failed in the network, then how you can carry the sensors data to the other location gateway. Different channel frequencies you can avail it from the wireless devices. So there are various devices are there. Either you can choose a Wi-Fi device or a Zigbee device. They operates on certain frequency range, so 2.4 gigahertz to 2.45 gigahertz. So they have some reserved channel. So each channel you can use it for data transmission, so that you are not sharing the common channel for data transmission. Once you have a dedicated channel for data transmission, your latency obviously gets decreased. So in the location 1 devices, they can use the different channel frequency from the neighboring devices, and they can relay their data to the location 2 devices. And you can plan your deployment in such a way that the location 1 device can communicate with location 2 devices. So here we have kept it by one device. We can able to communicate with the location 2 devices. And in location 2 also you can think about some of the channels which can be utilized by the other network devices. So let's say in this particular network some channels are reserved. If some condition fails in the location 1, these channels can be occupied by these devices, and via these channels they can relay the data. So the latency that you can minimize either using the channels, different channels, or you can do the frequency hopping through which you can transmit your data optimally without compromising with latency. So this is one perspective of reducing the latency. Likewise, you can have another prospect like topological configurations. So if you have organized the devices in location 1 in certain topology, then there are certain merits and demerits are there. So how you can deal with those merits and demerits. So topology wise, you can also think about how we can relay my data from one device to another device, and how the device among themselves can organize themselves for a optimal configurations. So IoT, one of the characteristics is that only dynamic and self-configurable. So they can dynamically change their topology structure as per the requirement. If one device fails in the network, then the network should aware about that this device failed, or the device himself just isolate from the network, and the network will transfer the data from one device to another device without sending the data to this device. So such characteristic also we have to enable in our topological deployments. Now let's come to the throughput. So throughput is what we have to send the data in optimal way so that our packet delivery ratio always be 100%. But that we cannot achieve it, but maximum time if we can achieve 100%, then our network will be effective. So average throughput we should try always above 95%. Then we can say that my network is performing well and it doesn't require any kind of fixes. So throughput basically related to the packet delivery ratio. And for improvising the throughput, you have a various options. Either you can create some clustering mechanisms in a network. You can create some node as a gateway node and other nodes as a end nodes. and then you can see what is the performance optimization I'm getting out of this topology. Like clustering tree formations. So in that formations, I can give some node the option for routing, so they can do the routing. Some node we can give as a uh, gateway node. Some node we can make it as a coordinator nodes. So there are different device configurations you can establish with the different roles and responsibilities. If you can keep all the devices with the same operation, like end devices, so they can just transmit the data, but there should be some devices who can manage these other devices also. So there are different topological configurations are there. So these are the few topologies. Other topologies are hybrid topologies. They are taking the collectively different topologies and taking the benefits of those topologies in the hybrid topology. So topological point of view, you can also optimize the network, and this is also a big research area where you can see how optimally you can transfer your data with a minimal number of hops. So if you are using Wi-Fi devices, wireless devices, then you can also think about how we can transfer the data if you are using wired devices. So everywhere this topological configuration is must to be optimized for lower latency and maximum throughput. So this is also a big research area. Fault tolerant networks. So what is fault tolerant networks? So there are certain faults may occur in the network, and some devices may fail. So how we can isolate those devices, how we can do the self-diagnostic of these devices, how we can generate some notification and alerts, how we can reconfigure those devices or recalibrate the sensor specs. Also, how we can program them from the remote location. So these are the few challenges which we can address it in different areas, and the fault tolerant will be discussing about all those important aspects. So in wireless sensor networks, these are the few faults. They are also applicable in any networks. Like in IoT, also we have the similar set of faults. So basically faults are divided into different segments. One is called behavioral fault, another is called persistent faults. In behavioral fault, we have two types of faults, hard fault and soft fault. So with the name itself, you can understand the hard fault is basically comes from the hardware side. So interior of the sensors not working properly, or there might be some problem in the sensors. Because of that, you are not getting the proper data, or communication is not happening properly. So these are the hardware faults, which we cannot diagnose it, or we cannot fix it. So in that case, the one thing we can achieve it, we can simply isolate that particular node from the network, or we can generate some notifications so that we can identify the node in the network is reacting differently. Software fault obviously comes from the exchanging of the sense data. So sensor is producing the data, but the data according to the data sheet is not coming. So every sensor has a specific configurations which you can easily get it from the data sheet. So if you can connect the sensors with the controller, and if it is generating some data, then how you can identify that data is correct or incorrect. So validation is important to identify the soft fault. So this is soft fault is related to the sensor data. Then persistent data has three different types of faults, like permanent faults, intermediate faults, and transient faults. So permanent faults basically are factory made faults. So if your device is available in the market and you have purchased it, and that device has a factory fault, means the hardware itself some fault was happened and it is not behaving perfectly. So that is permanent fault, and it will remain uh, to their entire life of the sensor. Like intermediate fault, some faults are there which comes in a regular interval of time period. So you have integrated a sensor in the network, and that sensor is behaving differently. Sometimes it gives a correct result, sometimes it gives a incorrect result. So identifying such kind of faults is also a critical challenge. So how you can say that my sensor is behaving perfectly, sometimes it is not perfectly behaving. So intermediate fault diagnosis also a area of research. Transient faults basically occurs for very short time intervals. So these faults also needs to be understood properly. Specifically, the fault tolerant network is essential in the area of healthcare sector. If we are using an IoT, we have to properly address all such faults. So what mechanism we should apply so that I can identify the faults in the network or fault in the device level? So one of the immediate solution for that, we can create some test techniques. Like we can test it in a regular interval of time that my sensor is behaving perfectly or not. So we can create some test data set, and with that test data set, we apply to the sensor, and we can analyze based on the test result outcome. So some test data set we can create it for analyzing the various faults. So hardware faults, it's very difficult to identify. Software faults somehow we can manage with the test cases. Likewise, these are the problem areas. There you can do a lot of research and you can bring out some of good solutions. So which can be applicable for the IoT area also. Now scalability is another important challenge. So scalability basically talks about how we can uh, increase the size of the network. So let's say in one particular region, we have deployed one gateway, and that gateway can manage only 200 devices. But IoT, if you think, if you see, the characteristic of IoT is that it can do self-configurable. Dynamically, it can change according to the requirement. So scalability, how we can optimize. If my gateway is operating with only 200 devices, it cannot extend it beyond that. But still, my requirement is to integrate some more devices with the same gateway. So another challenge comes in the scalability area, how you can scale your system. So scalability issue, you can manage it either you can do multi-hop communications, or you can do a proper deployment of your networks. So one gateway is in one location, another gateway in another location with different sets of devices. So if one gateway is heavily loaded, how you can share your load to other gateway. So that kind of mechanism you should devise in a network. Or otherwise, if you are not able to reach to the next gateway of location 2, you should devise a method so that your IoT end device itself can send the data to the cloud server without intervening the gateway. So in such way, you can manage the scalability issues. So what are the scalability challenges are there? Interoperability. So interoperability means a device that you have purchased with a different configurations, which has a different communication interfaces. Like I'm operating my one network with Wi-Fi, and immediately I have connect one Zigbee node in the network. Then how I can send my data uh, from the Zigbee node to the gateway? So some kind of method we should devise so that each kind of communication interface can be integrated with the informational network. Topological reconfigurability. So scalability also demands the topology reconfigurability, because you have to optimize the latency and optimize the reliability. So these two parameters you can also do it by changing the topology or reconfigure the topology. Optimal routing is essential since we have to route the message with the shortest path to the gateway. so that your message will go in real time, or it will not jitter, or it will not get any delayed in the network. So you also have to think about the routing. Then hardware acceptability. So you have to check whether the hardware has a capability to integrate with the informational network or not. So we should support some kind of communication interface. So your IoT network, if you are devised for the IoT healthcare, you obviously will be getting a different medical devices and sensors, which has a different interfaces. How you can accommodate all together these interfaces. So hardware acceptability means that your nodes should have some kind of communication perspectives. Then network bandwidth. So network bandwidth is also important aspects, because you are operating at certain bandwidth. Like let's say 100 Mbps you are using for your location one network, and immediately you have attached 200 more nodes into that network. Then obviously your bandwidth will reduce, and all other nodes will share the total bandwidth. In that case, how you can optimize the bandwidth? So that is also a scalability challenge. In that area also you can think of it and propose some of the solution for that. Range and number of hops. So range and number of hops basically discussed about the deployment of your devices in a network in such a way that the one node can communicate with other node. So one node in a network, if communicate with their neighboring nodes, he can take a specific decisions how to forward my data, from which node I should forward my data. So in a IoT network, let's say some of the IoT devices uh, all the time dropping the data from the receiving from the some device. So device has a malicious in nature. How you can track that particular maliciousness from the device? So that is a security aspects, but I'm discussing over here because I have to optimize the data relay, and for that I should use a minimal number of hops to transfer my data to the gateway. So for that we should also think about which data is more trusty, which data is less trusty. If the node is more in trust, then we can effectively send our data without any compromise. And there might be also a chance of that data is hacked by some intruder, and he has control of the whole data. So he can also modify your data once the data relate from that node. So that kind of thing you also have to imagine in terms of relaying your data and in terms of security perspective. So our IoT healthcare network architecture that we have designed during this pandemic period, we devised a method like we create some smart homes with some medical sensors, and these medical sensors we will be attaching with the network device who has a capability to communicate over the internet. So we have used the 4G modem, and through which we are transferring our data via cellular networks to the gateway, and gateway also integrated with the 4G modem. So my data relate from smart home 1 via cellular gateway, and then it reaches to the fog nodes. So we have deployed more number of fog nodes to manage the traffic coming from the different smart homes. So if we keep the patient in home quarantine, they will be living in one specific region. So how we can gather the data from them and deliver it over the fog node. So fog node is our intermediate node in between the and IoT device and the cloud service. So some of the computations we will be managing at the fog node itself, so that we can avoid the latency issues. So if you can see in this particular diagram itself, if you see you are taking the decision from the cloud side, to call the service provider, or you send the message to the patient also. Then the computation part will be running over here. So what are the different delays involving to transfer your data from smart home to the cloud? So the first delay comes from the sensor side. You gather the data, then the communication you are establishing through the 4G, and then this delay incorporated, then it goes to the fog node. The fog node will do some calculations or some analysis. If you are not performing any analysis over the fog node, then the delay can be come from the different fog nodes. Let's say all the fog nodes are occupied with the much traffic, so they are heavily loaded. Now they cannot entertain your request, so you have to wait until the node gets free to take your data forwarded to the cloud node. So there also you might have some delay. Then it goes to the cloud server. There also some delay will be there. So once you compute it and then you are sending these messages, it ultimately takes a lot of time. And in some time critical operations where the health monitoring is essential, and we cannot wait it for the long, we should find out some solutions. Either we can take collectively all the IoT devices at the perception layer itself and combinedly use them for analysis purpose. So here also you can put some machine learning or some kind of data analytics you can involve in this edge node itself. So this is also a one research area, how you can effectively utilize the edge node devices for computations and decision making. Otherwise, you can make your decisions at the fog node. There are a lot many fog nodes are there. So here, some of the challenges comes in terms of how you can manage the load over the multiple fog nodes, and how you can analyze some of the time critical data, and then you take certain decision without going up to the cloud nodes. So all such things you can easily enable at the different point of network state. So health IoT network architecture basically consisting of different layers, and in each layers we will be having a different sets of sensors, communication devices, and computational devices. And at the top layer we will be having our IoT framework. From there we can visualize all the data. So internet application layer, we will be having IoT dashboard to visualize the sensors data or the patient health data. So the bottommost layer in this network is what? Physiological sensor layer. So physiological sensor layer, we will be having a different types of medical sensors like electrocardiograph, ECG, EMG, EEG modules. Similarly, we have a pulse modules and respiratory modules. So these are the cheapest wearable devices which is available in market. You can utilize them for creating a small IoT networks. Then local communication layers, we will be having a various options for transferring our data. Either we can go with Zigbee, infrared, 6LoWPAN, LoRa, NFCs, RFID. So there are a lot more communication interfaces we have. So we can gather the data from the sensors and deliver it via the communication interfaces to the upper layer. So the informational processing layer is a gateway. Here you can analyze your data. So this can be your fog node also. There you can analyze the data and take certain decision making. And if you are not doing any such actions over here, you can simply forward this data over the cloud. At the cloud, your application is running. So your application is running in any of the framework. So for our IoT telehealth monitoring system, we have used Django framework in Python, and it is a very simplistic framework through which you can create any IoT application. So we have used Django framework for IoT BEF framework. And there is a user application layer from where the user can also visualize the analysis results of the data on the user dashboard. So internet processing layer basically has a gateway. So what kind of capabilities you should have at the gateway node so that you can optimize the network utilities. So like some of the gateway capabilities, like it should aggregate your data, it should filter your data, some kind of security it can provide, it can compress your data, or it should also have some local storage, or it should also enable some of the integration of sensors and actuators. So such all capabilities you can have in the IoT gateways. So you can simply see this diagram and you can understand with this. This is a gateway where your all the data comes from the edge devices, and this is the smart homes. So smart home 1, smart home 2 having the edge devices with integrated sensors for health monitoring, and they were communicating with the local interfaces like personal area network interfaces. So in this, either you can include the cellular communication 4G or 2G communication also. So your smart home device integrated with the personal area network devices, and they can transfer this data to the gateway. So gateway has a special segment of hardware where you can achieve some of the computations like CPU, GPU, DSP, RAM. So it is much higher in configuration than the edge node devices. So it can do light processing, reasoning, local data processing. It can also enable some securities like firewall or cryptographic operations you can perform. And also you can have some tunneling mechanism so that you can avoid the firewall at the different places. So the tunneling mechanism basically most of the Amazon's web services uses, and they provide their cloud services through the tunneling mechanism only. So tunneling is a kind of hidden pipeline through which the data can be delivered to the intended recipient, whoever is using that cloud service or any services. He can establish the tunnel between the cloud server and his computer. So tunneling will not uh, scanned by the firewall. It just simply transfer, or I can say it can just bypass your firewall so that you can easily send your packet in any secure network also. Then database manager also be there, non-IP based modules also there. So non-IP based module like Zigbee, NFC, Bluetooth. So local communication also you can do it with the gateway. Device discovery module. So here some more capabilities it has. If some device in neighbors is there and interested to connect with the gateway, he can also scan the entire region and get the device in the network. So all such capabilities the gateway should have. eHealth gateway also has a local database and operating systems. So this is what the gateway capabilities in terms of utilizing for health monitoring purpose. So this is a general gateway structure which you can use it for IoT healthcare, or either you can use it for the industrial automations. On top of this IoT gateway, we also have other different communication interfaces. Either we can go with 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, IPv version 4 or IPv version 6 interfaces, through which we can send it our data over the cloud, so that we can visualize it and we can also analyze the data. Another promising research area today is IoT big data analytics. So many of the research is going towards the big data analytics because nowadays we have a capable devices and capable sensors. They can produce the data in huge volume, huge velocity, and huge varieties. So when you have such kind of device configurations, you obviously need some of the mechanisms to handle the volume, velocity, and variety of data. So for that, there are various platforms are there, and big data, in short form, I can say that it is a network file system. How you can manage the data coming over the internet, and how you can store them in an organized manner, and how you can analyze that data and give a fastest response over the analysis. So this is what the big data analytics, where we are talking about the huge volume, huge velocity, and huge variety of data. So what kind of facility it can provide? Highly configurable data injections, alert for real-time patient engagement. So for health monitoring, if we are looking towards an IoT, then we also have to look around the big data analytics. So what are the challenges in this particular area, and how we can deal with such a huge data? When it comes in the network, how we can organize and save that data? So I'll give you one simple example with that you can understand some of the basics of big data. Like in our local computer, we have a specific file systems like NTFS or FAT32. There you can store your data in the organized matter, in folders and subfolders. Like if your data is floating in a network, then how you can organize your data in proper order? So for that, big data is talking about the network file system. So network file system will arrange your data in the data centers, and replicate your data in different data centers. And whenever you in need, let's say one data center, the store data is not getting, then he can manage the data from the other data centers. So all such difficulties are there, which you can also take as a research challenge in this particular research area. So Hadoop is one of the platform through which you can create the network file systems, and you can organize the big data. So this is what the platform for IoT uh, big data for healthcare purpose. So like you will be having a clinical census data at the bottom, and you will be having a lightweight some directory structure where you can store your data. And then you can have another layer there, you can provide some security and injection frameworks and data lakes. So this is are the these are the terms mostly used in big data analytics. Then you have some parsing mechanism, how your data you can parse it, how you can store it, and how you can analyze it. So some of the data access you can have. These are the different promising research areas also, like an operational data storage. So how you can store the data in a structured format. So what entities, what attributes. So in terms of database management perspective, you can organize your data. So likewise, you can have a different users also, the clinical interventions, how they can visualize the data and analyze the data. Enterprise users, how they manages the whole data coming from the health devices or a clinical sensor nodes, surveys and applications. So all three segments are open for research. There you can also do a lot of research. In our IoT four-tier healthcare IoT networks, we have used the four-tier system. Here we use the medical sensors. So the clinical sensors are at the bottom, and we are using the local LAN communication devices so that we can deliver our data to the gateway. So via this also we can send our data, or either we can send it through cellular communication also. So, and the communication perspective, we also have some protocols like TCP/IP is the most reliable protocol. Likewise, for IoT, we have other set of protocols like MQTT, recently introduced, and it got a lot of popularity. So, message queue telemetry transfer protocol, through which you can also establish the communication. So, TCP/IP gives you the client server way of communications. MQTT will give you the publisher subscriber way of communication. So publisher is publishing the data. In between that, there will be one broker, and whoever subscribe to the broker, he will get the particular topics. So it uses the publisher subscriber communication model. And constraint API is there, and then HTTP protocol is there, RESTful API is there, lightweight machine-to-machine communication protocol is there, advanced advanced message queuing protocol is there. So these are the few protocols in IoT domain which you can use it for IoT, which you can use it for the healthcare sector to establish the IoT infrastructure. Then management layer also there, where we will be managing our data in terms of security, in terms of device management, and the actuations and control management, data processing management. So all sort of management we can do it over here. Similarly, data analytics, we can perform it over the cloud or even at the fog node. So it depends where you like to put your server. So this is what the 4-tier health IoT model that we have adopted for implementing our IoT infrastructure for monitoring the health of COVID patient. So health IoT security and privacy challenges. So this is also a most promising research area nowadays. So if you see by 2050, we will be having a 50 billion IoT devices in informational networks. So there is a lot of security risk because IoT devices are not capable enough to have all such security features. In that order, how you can manage your security on the constrained computational devices. So for that, we will be having a different uh, challenges like data availability, consistency and accessibility, how you can manage the data in a network so that you can get it over the network easily, the data, then how you can maintain the consistency of the data, accessibility of the data. So these all are basically need some kind of security. Similarly, you need some kind of authentication and authorization mechanisms, privacy, how you can ensure the privacy of data so that it should not leak out in the network or some malicious node in the network steal your data, or he can modify your data. So security perspective is very much important and essential. It is already there, but for the IoT kind of constraint network, we need to reformat all the security aspects. We have to devise some of the lightweight encryption algorithms, lightweight integrity management tools. All such things are necessary to manage the security in IoT networks. Okay, so IoT health security needs authentication, authorization, and availability, confidentiality, data reliability, fault tolerant, integrity, and non-reputations. So all such sort of things we are looking in the IoT in security. Now IoT healthcare monitoring under COVID-19 pandemic. So this is what the project we did, and this project we intentionally built for uh, finding out what are the research challenges are there. So we have used a different set of IoT devices for making this IoT infrastructure for telehealth monitoring. So in this, we will be having e-sensors deployed at the home locations. So let's say COVID patient arrived in his city, and the medical or a healthcare service provider kept the home quarantine procedure. So he has no medium to tell to the healthcare service provider that I am facing this kind of criticality. Or if he is having some kind of health symptoms, then how he can convey that this is most related to the COVID symptoms. So we have devised a method that the sensors we will be integrating to the COVID patient, and he can log his data over the server. Since we will be configure the cloud at the remote locations, we will be having a difficulty of maintaining the latency. So minimal latency is must in order to provide the timely response to the patient and the healthcare service provider. So we have devised an algorithm at the fog node which can analyze the sensor data and correlate with the COVID symptoms. If it is relating with the COVID symptoms, we will be sending direct messages to the patient and the healthcare service provider. So healthcare service provider will take an necessary actions. Either he can call the patient at the hospital, or he can do some arrangement for the patient under the home quarantine itself. So this is what the healthcare system that we have devised with IoT boards, and we find out these are the few challenges which needs to be addressed properly. So for our IoT healthcare, we have four layers, like perception layer, where we have used the ECG sensor, BP sensor, air pressure sensor, and temperature sensor. So these sensors we have integrated at the perception layer, and we have aggregation layer where we are doing the data processing. So what are the constrained data processing were there, we are addressing in this particular layer. Then our processing layer just process the data and analyze the data at the fog node and taking the appropriate decisions, so that the healthcare service provider will get notified the COVID patient is facing the health issues which is correlating with the COVID-19. So we are not providing the data directly to the healthcare service provider because they are already in busy mode. So we have devised a method at the fog node itself. So it will check all the vital informations, and then it try to map with the COVID symptoms. If it matches properly, it just notified to the patient and the healthcare service provider. Later on, healthcare service provider will analyze his health properly, and then he can suggest the quarantine procedures. So we have a two different way of proposing the alert messages to the healthcare service provider and patient. Either we can do it at the fog node itself, or we can go up to the cloud node. So this is what the framework that we have used, Django framework for IoT healthcare. So Django framework is a Python framework. We have developed a small IoT dashboard where the user can see his health data. So while he is logging this data, he can also log at this data at the cloud server, and he can also visualize this data. So our system works like that. The data generate from the edge node and it goes to the fog node. If the COVID symptoms find out and it is most correlating with COVID symptoms, this data analysis report will be generated at the fog node itself in the form of notification to the patient and healthcare service provider. Along with that, the fog node will forward this data to the cloud server. So the patient can also visualize this data on his own dashboard. So the dashboard we have prepared in such a way that each user will get a device, and we have provided a random API. So API key he used to log his data on the dashboard, and with the same API he can visualize his data. So there is proper independency we have kept it, and privacy also we have ensured in this particular model. We also use the cloud MQTT protocol for sending our data from the edge node to the cloud. And this cloud MQTT is a third party broker which is available at internet. You just log in it. It will give you some server specifications and username and password and port number. With this, you can establish the communication between the IoT devices and the cloud server. So one of the inherent benefit is that we can create more number of port via using this broker. So there is no single channel we are using. We are using a multiple channel to transmit our data from edge node to the fog node. So that is what the beauty of MQTT protocol. We also utilize it in our model. So we use RESTful communication API. With the help of get and post message, we are sending the data over the cloud. Along with that, if our network has some issues, then we can go with the cloud MQTT mode of communication. So our RESTful API is running from the edge node to the gateway, from the gateway to the cloud. But we also kept the provision of that edge node can also send the data directly to the cloud with the help of cloud MQTT protocol. So these two provision we have kept it in our model, and this is what very simplistic model we have devised. And for that we have used small IoT devices like a BeagleBone Black single board computer system with Ubuntu operating system. So this node is our end IoT device. From here we are logging the data to the home gateway. So home gateway is connected with internet, and we are sending this data to the fog node. So fog node, we are doing the analysis, and this particular board is a BeagleBone AI board. So it is capable to perform the data analytics algorithms. So its computational power also much higher than the end IoT device. And then this fog node analysis, if not find any kind of the COVID symptoms, then it forwards the data to the cloud server, and we are hosting our cloud services over the DigitalOcean platform. So in the DigitalOcean platform, we have configured one platform here with Ubuntu operating system, one core, and we have taken a 8 GB of RAM, and other configuration settings were there. We have taken it and purchased this small system for hosting our website. And for that, we paid 300 rupees for a month. So for 1 month only, we have tested this model and it was succeeded. Now we are going towards the scalability issues. So for that scalability issues, we need more number of devices. So we come up with one solution that we use a Koja simulator. So Koja simulator is for IoT purpose, where we can create lot many IoT devices. So scalability issues we can address with the Koja simulators, and then we find out what are the latencies are getting, what are the throughputs we are getting, where the loss of data is there, and how the topology we can configure so that our data gets optimized. So all such challenges we will be trying to address using Koja simulator. So you can also browse it this Koja simulator, and you can also use it for your research purpose. So this is what the architecture of our IoT healthcare system. We have IoT devices at the users, and they were communicating through 4G modem. From the 4G modem to the fog node, we are having another modem which receives the data, and from here we are sending it over the cloud, because fog node is directly connected with the internet. So this is what we are doing in our proposed model. Our future research is direction towards the digital contact tracing. So we are also working at present in this particular research area, because during this pandemic, the global research is migrated towards the digital contact tracing. So people, whoever working in the area of machine learning, data scientist, everyone is now looking towards this particular problem. This problem is basically like how you can track the patient history of travel. So if one person is came from one particular location, and during his stay he met with multiple peoples, but that tracking we are not having. So how we can track it, such details? So for that we will be having a smartphone devices with the integrated sensors. Like the Bluetooth is also there in a part of the Android devices. Likewise, there are multiple sensors We will be having accelerometer, gyroscope, magnetometer, microphone, speakers. All such sensors are integrated in today's smartphones. So how we can use those smartphones to track the contact of the patient. So if one person is coming close to another person, then based on the Wi-Fi range, what is the signal strength we are receiving, we can calculate the distance between the two persons. And the Bluetooth ID we will be using to log the data over the server. So we can uniquely identify that this person met with these people. So after a 5 days, let's say that person is COVID positive, then we can easily get his detail from the cloud server that this patient has met with this person who has a device with a Bluetooth ID, this. Then we can have their contact tracing. So this particular research was started in South Korea at first, and they were minimizing the number of cases of COVID-19 because of this contact tracing. But still, many of them are trying hard to identify the correct distance between the two persons. Because when you come to a close to any person, your mobile position may be in pocket or maybe in hand. So the signal gets affected with the obstruction. If it is in your pant, then definitely it creates an obstruction, and because of that, signal strength received by the other node on another mobile phone may not be exactly the same. So because of that, you cannot able to track the exact distance between the two patients. How you can maintain that contact tracing? So for that purpose, there is a lot of research is going to use the feedback from the different sensors integrated in your smartphones, and with that they are tracking the distance between the two persons. Let's say there are multiple devices in the home and you met with multiple people, then also you can track that with the help of Bluetooth technology. So Bluetooth alone is not capable to detect the exact distance between the two persons. We need some more sensors input to optimize this whole contact tracing uh, mechanism. So for that, we will be having a BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy version 4 integrated in most of the Android phones, which you can use it to sense the signal strength of your neighboring devices. Based on the signal strength, you can calculate the distance between the two person, and that distance, if it is close enough, you can say that the person has a contacting with other person. So based on that, we can find out the history of the person whom he has contacted. So so there is a Google General Science app is there. So Google General Science app, you can use it, and it is specifically for Android devices. So you can download this app and you can access the all sensors, all the communication device interfaces at one place, and you can sense the sensor input. The same data you can log it at the Google Drive. From the Google Drive, you can use it for your research purpose. So um, with that, you can create a good contact tracing using your smartphones. There was one figure there, but I have compiled this LaTeX file. Because of that, I think it has taken a new image. So you can just simply go and browse it, that one, then you can get it that. So with this, I'm closing the today's discussion over IoT in healthcare, and now I'm open to discuss whatever the queries and concerns you have. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for your elaborated speech.
Yeah,
It was very much useful.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
We have few questions, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
First, can we perform IoT without connection of internet?
IoT without internet cannot be imagined. It can only be a wireless sensor network. So some kind of device you need to have the capability to communicate with internet. So let's say you are forming a network with Zigbee nodes. So Zigbee node cannot communicate directly with internet. So you can collectively take the data from the Zigbee networks and send it over the gateway. So gateway has a capability to communicate with internet. So collective data from the sensor network you are sending to the gateway, gateway is sending to the cloud. That way you can establish a IoT network.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We have one more question almost related to this. Is it possible to perform IoT only through Bluetooth?
Yes, yes, it's possible through Bluetooth. Bluetooth basically personal area network device. So you can sense the data surrounding, or you can sense the other mobile phone or other Bluetooth devices near to you, and you can do some operations with that data. But you cannot upload that data directly on the cloud servers. You need some interfaces for communication to the informational networks. So that is why I'm telling that Bluetooth, NFC, RFID, these are personal area network device. They are compromised device. They can communicate up to a 2 meters, 3 meters, or even 1 kilometers range, but they cannot communicate over the internet. For that, you need either 6 low pan devices who has a capability to integrate with informational networks. So
Sir, that's all I think, sir.
okay.
Participants,
Yes.
if you have any other questions, can you please post it now? Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your patience.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Very much useful, sir. More relevant to the title given. Thank you so much, sir. We are looking
Okay.
for your future collaboration also, sir. Thank you.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.